We're here today to talk about how AI is disrupting the status quo for marketing compliance teams. The big glaring thing over the last couple of years has just been a skyrocketing amount of content per user.
So going to your point about the massive amount of content creation, we've seen that copywriting was a relatively low risk ability to monitor aggressively and keep within, a local stack or on a local desktop or something that can be shielded without being public facing and generate quite quickly.
I think very similar to what Wyatt's saying, right? It's just the ability to create a lot more content and a lot more personalization across the team, which obviously then puts pressure on the marketing compliance side of things and making sure that, the compliance side operationally can keep up. The big pivot going forward is going to be compliance teams sort of moving from content cop and brand police to more of a strategic enabler, not just looking at how to eliminate risk, but becoming a partner with the marketing team to really scale the governance alongside, the innovation that's happening with Gen AI and what the marketing team is doing.
So why are we not templatizing that framework at the very beginning, just like you would on a normal intake process? Compliance team are almost salivating at the idea of saying, like, so you're telling me that I have a front line of defense much earlier in the campaign creation process that can mitigate the flood of requests that I'm getting.
The marketer becomes a prompt engineer, and through the application, then they're able to spin up not only ads and other creative, but lots of varieties and variations of those ads pretty quickly.
I see that as a huge time saver so that graphics designers aren't having to waste their time on just cropping images. They're instead creating and originating and building the recommendation engines and the AI engines on that. That's again accelerating. And I know you didn't ask this part, but just a little bit elaborate more, where I think a lot of compliance stakeholders that I work with are quite nervous where they feel that everything that we're just speaking about is not a linear process. It's more of like a project manager that is just kind of herding cats, where what I see, which is more important than ever with these agents and AI that are coming up, is work management. So tools such as Asana, Workfront, Monday, I'm not trying to name drop any of the specific ones, but having that process down, that is then the orchestrator.
And so working with your teams to make sure that is written down, that you have clear processes and written documentation to go back to, so that when you're working with different AI vendors to evaluate whether their tools are a good fit, you have some collateral and some documentation to share with them. It's really easy for software vendors and AI vendors to get into a demo and demo their best stuff. But I really think, as you do vendor selection, it's really important that you make sure you're sort of driving the vendors to demo your real world use cases. How come they aren't just learning on the marketing side to fix these 7 things before it gets to me? Eliminate that repetitive work and really, again, keep your legal and compliance folks focused on the really high risk things and the more nuanced things, and eliminate the things that are just the repeatable, very clear black and white things that a tool should be able to eliminate.
I see agents being built to assist the marketing campaign creation process along that supply chain. And compliance, I see that as we used to have 15 years ago, a project manager that managed 7 to 10 campaigns. I see that you could have an agent up and down that campaign creation process that's chasing people. How do I go from what prompts do I feed into an AI versus when can I just let one go and help me up and down?
One thing that LLMs are not great at right now is doing exactly what they're told. And I'll give you an example. Last month, Shopify made this big announcement that made tech headlines, at least, where they were saying AI usage is mandatory for all employees, whether you're in accounting or you are in marketing. And in every department head, if they want to make any new hires, they have to prove that they can't use AI to scale the existing team. AI will handle complex 4-hour workflows by 2026. And that's when, today's marketing automation, might become irrelevant.
I confidently feel that the days of copy and pasting text and building campaigns in a Marketo or a marketing cloud or product, they're going to be over in 2 to 3 years. I think it's going to be conversational, like talking to. So a good example is You got wholesalers in the financial services area where asset managers in the field talking. They already don't update Salesforce, but I think in, 1 or 2 years, it's exclusively going to be talking, right?
For me, I definitely do see, a time like in the near future that most of the marketing team's work is prompt engineering. I see like a marketing manager managing a series of AI agents or a platform that contains a bunch of AI agents.
The curious are going to win. So those people coming out of college that are curious about AI, and almost all these tools have a free version, just start using them. If I was getting out of college right now and I hadn't used any AI while I was in college, I think just being curious and getting your hands on it and starting to play with it is the most powerful thing you can do.
Consumer protections aren't going away, and the tools available to folks in those roles are better than they've ever been.